What is going on, everybody? We're back sooner than we had imagined, but not soon. How was your Thanksgiving, Keith? How was your
Uh,
uh, how was your break?
I gave a lot of thanks. No, it was good. There was a lot of food, two Thanksgivings, my family's and the girlfriend's
A
families, like
classic.
right after each other. Yeah. So a lot of food. Um, but it was good. I mean, I had Thursday, Friday off as well, so I had a 4-day weekend.
Oh my God, that's beautiful. I actually
Yeah.
took off on Wednesday too because I'm greedy. Uh,
Okay. So
yeah,
is
no,
that a
I
five
had.
day weekend? You had
I
Friday
mean, I
too?
flew out on Tuesday and then I flew
Uh,
back on Monday, but I counted those as work days because I was working remotely, so it kind of counts. I don't know.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, but anyway, what's up? Welcome to Girth, Wind, and Fire, episode 2. Getting sidetracked before we even intro the entire podcast. It's
Classic.
episode 2 of Girth, Wind, and Fire, The Big Bang with Peter Zhang. Named as such because we received some news. We received some news, didn't we, Keith?
Yeah, we did. Received the news today. Actually,
Yeah.
the full roster drop, up to and including head coach. And head coach being named Peter Zhang.
And we have to tread lightly on this one because the general consensus among the TSM faithful is that they're optimistic. Is that they think he'll
Yeah.
do pretty well. And even if they don't think that, they think he has proven himself enough to get this shot. Now,
There's definitely a divide.
yes, I feel differently than that. We can just say.
Just
Um,
preface.
yeah, just to preface. But I mean, I can see where they're coming from on that.
Yeah.
What do you think as of late?
um. Well, again, I know the fan base is really really divided, and I think that kind of well represents how I felt about it. Um, Pretty skeptical, and at the same time, it's tough because a lot of people just want to say trust the process, trust in Parth and Reggie. They know what they're talking about. But we've really had a lot of coaching problems. I mean, for the past 4 or 5 seasons since
Mm-hmm.
Parth actually stepped down, and even his last season and a half as coach was not fantastic. And for him, it was Locodoco. So we
Oh,
really,
that's right.
yeah. So we don't really have the best track record with coaches per se. So it's. I understand why people say trust Parth and Reggie, trust the process, but at the same time, with staffing, we just have not done well. The track record is, I think, worse than our jungler track record, which I know a lot of people kind of use as a bad TSM rap. But I think our coaching has been worse. So it's tough for me to just say I trust the process, I trust Parth and Reggie, and that's where we're going to stay. But at the same time, um, Peter Zhang he was coach of the split when he brought Team Liquid back from being junk, basically post Breaking Point.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
speaking of which, he's worked with Dardoch at that point. So that's another thing is he's like used to and worked with Dardoch and how he plays and how he works. Um, but yeah, so I'm optimistic. I'm a little more in the optimistic boat than you are, but there is still a hesitancy there, just
Sure, sure.
because I want to make sure that, like, I don't think he's going to be bad, but I want to make sure that it's going to be what TSM fans deserve, and I think that he can do it. I think that he's shown in some instances that he can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think there's a really good reason why people question it.
Sure, sure, sure. And we made the mistake of talking about this a little bit before we hit the old record button.
Yeah.
Um, and to kind of bring up something that you were talking about was the end of last split when Zix, our boy Tony, had stopped appearing on stage and started, just kind of, I guess, trying to orchestrate things from the background, or maybe he got pushed aside. We don't know. Point is, we
Mm-hmm.
don't really know about that. But what
True.
we do know is that Peter Zhang was on stage, man, and he
Yeah.
was, for all intents and purposes, calling the shots there. And if it was Zix's idea, if it was Tony's idea, to draft some of these comps towards the end of last season, then I can understand wanting to let Peter Zhang in on the drafting decisions. However, if it was Peter Zhang doing the drafting while being on stage, boy, fucking howdy,
Boy, howdy.
I have some reservations about his drafting.
Oh yeah. Wow.
If that's the case, obviously we don't
Yeah.
know. There's no way, or at least that I know of, for us to know that. But yeah, let's just say if it was him on stage calling the shots and making the drafts, then questionable, to say the least.
Yeah, a little frightening, especially since his assistant coach is Lust Boy, our
Oh
faithful
fuck, that's right.
Lustina.
That's right.
But at the same time, Lust Boy's been working with TSM pretty much since he left TSM. He left for a little bit and was back not very long after, and has been working as like a position coach, an analyst, an assistant coach, like just on and off. He was on stage for bits and pieces of it. I think last year a little bit, but I think we had Goldman mostly up there, so it was like Goldman and Peter Zhang. But then Lust was definitely up there for a little while. So I don't know. I don't know. Like, this isn't fresh talent. This isn't new, not necessarily new talent, but like new to TSM talent. Like
Yeah,
Peter Zhang has been with the academy team for a while now, and we won the Academy League under Peter Zhang. So I don't know.
It's not like there's no track record of success, but
right.
It's more of an, is this what TSM needs slash deserves slash, wants, I guess. And, people are happy about it. People are excited. People are optimistic. And with a roster like we have, there's no reason not to be optimistic. That being said, we've been optimistic about rosters before, and look how that turned out.
Yeah, not the best.
I'm trying my hardest not to talk shit about this decision.
I know.
I'm trying my absolute hardest. Because at the end of the day, there's no way of knowing until everything kicks off, right? But I just think TSM could have done better.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest crime that most people are calling out, is not that Peter Zhang is a bad coach or will be a bad coach or is a bad decision, but like, was he the best decision? Is this like, are we going to be able to do well under Peter Zhang? Of course we can do well. We could do well with Parth. We did perfectly fine. We did well with Loco Doco. We had a good split with Tony. We had an okay split with Song. Like, that, we can do well because we have talent. But is this the coach that's going to take us to Worlds? Is this the coach that's going to make us internationally relevant? I mean, we're not even domestically dominant at this point. A lot of people are saying that this is a top 3 team, the team to beat Liquid, but we won't know that until we see it. So ultimately, is this the coach that's really going to push us to being a world contender? I don't know. And that kind of also brings up the argument, how much influence does a coach really have? Grabs, the coach of G2, how much did he really contribute to the success of that roster? The roster is just so fucking stacked. It's insanely stacked. Like, they're so good. So could literally an orangutan with a headset get up on stage there and it doesn't matter? I don't know. I don't know how much influence some coaches have, because we have like really, really good coaches like Reaper who have never been able to take teams all the way past. Like, they've gotten out of groups, C9 has, but like not all the way into serious international competition.
Yeah, nothing you would consider a deep run.
Right, exactly. And they've made great runs. They've made fantastic runs. Sure. And again, I think Reaper is a phenomenal coach. But he doesn't have the track record of, like, say, Kakoma, or, you know what I mean? Like some other.
Does anybody have that track record?
That's a good point. But how much influence does the coach really play? And I think the answer to that, without really knowing and without having that insider information, which we obviously don't, is it varies team to team. I think some teams are like really influenced by their coaches, and I think that they're really like succeed or fail, sink or swim, based on their coaching staff and their infrastructure as a whole. And then other teams, like, it just doesn't matter. Like, they're just going to do well almost no matter what you do. Like, I think Team Liquid's another team that's just going to do really, really well, whether it's Coach Kane or somebody else. And I think, again, Coach Kane is a great coach as well. But I think they're just a really, really good roster. So I don't know how much they're going to actually play into it. And all this really to kind of roll back and say, I don't know how much it's going to matter whether or not Peter Zhang is like the ultimate coach versus like the coach that TSM needs.
Yeah, I guess. I would say,
or the coach that this roster needs. I guess I should
yeah,
better say.
sure. And I would probably say that TSM is, for as much talent as TSM has had over the years, it's definitely been a team that's, you know, relied upon its coaching staff or its authority figures to call shots more so than I suppose other organizations. We're not like God, what was it? Was it Origin? Who was it that I think it was? Fuck, man, I'm trying to remember. I don't think it was Xpeke, but it was somebody back when they were playing for Origin that was like, we don't need a coach. We just can get up there as 5 dudes and draft ourselves.
I think that might have been Origin.
Yeah, I know it was somebody on Origin. I just forget who said it.
It probably
Xpeke or Xpeke, somebody like that. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Ugh. I don't like Amazing.
We almost had Amazing. We were so close to having Amazing back.
Wait, really?
Yeah, he was a big contender. I know that at some point Bjergsen, I think it's rumored that he said that he wanted Amazing back and was kind of pushing for Amazing as well as an option.
Wow.
And I think that just kind of fell through. I mean, think about it. Amazing, we had probably the best Worlds run we've ever had with Amazing, short of season 1, because we got out of groups with Amazing for the first time ever. And Amazing was actually like, he didn't do poorly before he left. He got homesick and he left. Like it was he left before his time ran out. Now, would his time have run out? Maybe. I don't know, because he bounces team to team a lot. And I don't know if that's necessarily mechanics or if that's just like there's better talent out there. But he was at, I don't want to say his peak, but he was in his prime when he left TSM. So it was a real option. I think that Dardoch is an upgrade. He is absolutely an upgrade mechanically. Then Amazing.
Yeah, but that's like a foregone conclusion at this point. Is that he's insane mechanically? Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah. I think Amazing would have just brought the leadership that I think a lot of people were looking for.
I guess so. I mean,
but anyway, that's So that's to say, Amazing was an option, supposedly, but according to Parth, allegedly. But according to Parth, in that interview that he had with Travis, they've been looking at Dardoch for a while, a long time.
Oh, really?
Pretty much. Yeah, I think they said like beginning of season 18. Or I'm sorry, season of 2018. So supposedly, and again, this is all supposedly and maybes and probablys, but Zix didn't want to work with him again after the CLG days, and that was one of the reasons that they disagreed and kind of went their own separate ways, because Parth or Reggie or Bjergsen or whoever really wanted to see Dardoch given the chance, and Zix was like, I don't want to work with that guy anymore, and kind of led to,
given the history, is understandable.
A little bit.
Yeah. Sure.
Well, and we can talk about this afterwards, but I think it would be worth at least mentioning the Thorin article, which I don't know if you read, but basically,
do I look like the guy who would read the Thorin article?
Who would read a Thorin article? No, but there was essentially an article by Thorin saying that Dardoch has not learned his lesson.
He made a video about this too, didn't he?
I don't think he made a video.
I'm pretty confident he made a video on it.
Did he? Okay, I haven't seen it.
Yeah. I'll
but he definitely wrote a Thorin's Thoughts article that basically said that Dardoch has not learned anything, and it's going to be,
just deja vu all over again.
Yeah, second verse, same of the first. Yeah.
Oh boy, where is he? What is he basing this on?
I really don't. I don't remember. I mean, he already, as is, he had some information in there incorrect, so a lot of people just want to kind of invalidate it. And I know that Thorin is not necessarily the best friend of TSM fans. We kind of they go back and forth, because like for a while Thorin was an asshole, everybody hated him, and then like he made peace with Reginald, and then they did that interview and everyone was like, actually Thorin's pretty dope, he's actually pretty informed. And now we're kind of back to like he enjoys really like riling up.
This guy doesn't know anything. He's a Counter-Strike commentator,
just stay to see us go. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so he really loves riling up the TSM fan base.
Oh, I don't know it's one of his favorite things.
So I guess we kind of go back and forth on Thorin.
Sure.
I don't necessarily think there's a ton of validity to what he says and his arguments, but it's interesting to think about because it's a lot of fans' fears, which is probably, now that I think of it, why he wrote the article, because it resonates with a lot of people who are like, has Dardoch learned his lesson? Is this going to be Breaking Point Part 2, or is this going to be something new? So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know. But anyway, rolling back to Peter Zhang,
yes.
I just want to believe in this roster. That's what I just want. I want to believe in this roster, and I want to believe that if anything does happen where Peter Zhang doesn't work out, it's not because the roster is not succeeding, it's because the roster does not feel like he is the best person to lead them, and we're still dominating the split. You know what I mean? Like if for any reason Peter Zhang doesn't work out, that's how I want it to go down. I don't want it to blow up in our face. I don't want to have horrible drafts.
You don't want to ban Ezreal with an Ezreal main AD carry?
Oh my gosh, please.
I mean, we've been talking a lot about the Peter Zhang and Parth decision as well, because Parth's now, because he's been the GM of TSM for a while in terms of league operations.
Yeah, since 2017. Yeah.
Yeah. How much can we trust the GM in this scenario? Because if you're familiar with traditional sports, it's much more of if there's systemic failures year after year with a rotating staff and rotating roster, a lot of the times the blame gets all the way up to the GM level and they have to replace the GM. Granted, I know that basically inventing Galio mid gets you a long way, especially when you're putting fucking Bjergsen on Galio mid for like years in a row.
The Galio Jarvan, the Galio Camille.
Jesus. So I know that gets him a lot of clout. That Rift Rivals winning roster.
Yeah.
But it's
I think Parth's a really smart dude, and I think that he knows
he's very smart. That's nobody.
He has a really good head for the game. Yeah, and I just don't know if he has a good head for the infrastructure. Like, I don't know if he has a good head for what a good league infrastructure looks like, as much as I think that he's a really, really good analyst. And I think he's a good strategic coach, which obviously he's not at the moment. But I think that that's really where he thrives. I think that's why he worked well as a head coach, because he wasn't really a head coach. He was just a really good analyst, and we just kind of coached ourselves. Like, it just, Bjergsen was our captain. We just went forward. And it worked. Bjergsen and Doublelift both worked.
Yeah,
so
that was, that's when you have that kind of, that self-motivation, it's ridiculous.
Exactly, and that's what a lot of people are thinking is going to be very similar, is we have very strong personalities, and by personalities, I mean Dardoch's personality, that is going to hopefully be some level of a driving force on the field, on the field of Summoner's Rift, as opposed to just behind the scenes.
Out there on the turf,
on the front lines.
On the turf.
Yeah. In the trenches. But that's what a lot of people are thinking, is it's going to be very similar as it was with Doublelift, where Doublelift really helped push against Bjergsen's passiveness, because Bjergsen, again, is a very passive player, a very passive laner, and we need him. When he is forced into an active situation, he shines and he's fantastic. He just doesn't seek those. So having somebody like Haunter and somebody like Doublelift, both of whom were much more aggressive players, and that's why we've always prayed for an aggressive jungler. We want an aggressive jungler, because we've seen, that when Bjergsen gets pushed and when the team goes, like when Go TSM happens, it's our best TSM. So I guess that's what people are hoping out of Dardoch, is we're going to have something similar, and then Peter Zhang is just there to make sure that the drafts aren't trash, and that the team is basically held together, as opposed to he's running the whole show. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it would be interesting to see what others are thinking that the coach, the role of the coach on TSM should be at this point, right? Maybe we should set up what we need to do is we need to start live streaming these and set up a call line, like a phone line. Get them in.
That's
here.
Right.
Call them in. That'd be amazing.
That's what we want. Is we want Redditors to get in here.
That's beautiful. We want Redditors in here. We need to get like a morning radio show set up. I need a soundboard with like the most obnoxious set of sounds ever. And
Cantos and DSR in the morning. That's it.
KD in the morning. Fucking all things TSM.
Yep.
until 10 a.m. And then, make beep, 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 glass break, cat screech, fucking,
You're still going.
Yeah, why not, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean,
Absolutely. We have
all your dreams,
we have
dude.
some really obnoxious like number. It's just like all nines.
Yeah, it's 999
Yeah,
9991.
exactly. Oh, that'd
But
piss me
no,
off.
just no, you just alternate nines and ones, so people are accidentally calling the police all the time. So it's like 91919911, and it's just like people
I
are just calling the
actually love
police
it.
all the time.
All right, we're
That's so
doing it.
funny.
New morning radio show. I'm gonna set up an FM transmitter. We're gonna do a pirate radio show from a boat. It's gonna be incredible.
That's gonna be awesome. All right, so
Yeah,
um,
I think we've pretty much covered everything we need to cover for this episode.
yeah, for
Obviously
Peter
it's
Zhang,
not. This isn't gonna be as extensive of a discussion of the entire roster like last time was, but yeah, I mean,
well,
I'm skeptical to say the least.
yeah,
I guess my takeaway is that the coaching staff and all of the upper management of TSM up until this point that has been in place for the last couple of years has led to relative mediocrity for TSM.
yep.
And so staying within that structure, staying within that management, staying within that organization, to me feels like you're going to get more mediocrity out of it. However, I don't know. I could be talking out my ass.
No, but and you make a good point, and we've kind of, I think that's all a lot of people really felt, is that we kept a lot of the same things, a lot of the same people. As we know, Reginald really loves the people that work under his org. He's always like bringing back the children, like specials, like stays in the house when he doesn't have a place to stay, and Odd One and Dyrus are still streamers with TSM, even though they're not big time at all. Things like that. Like he keeps his friends close, and so we've seen a lot of that.
Yeah.
But I do think that there's a legitimate fear that we're just leveling out in mediocrity. But on the other side of that, and to kind of devil's advocate that, we've seen rosters, we've seen teams where they change one person, they change one thing, and all of a sudden they're like a world's ready team. And they just turn it all on and everything fucking changes. Yeah. We've also seen teams that have blown up come back together as a brand new team, and they're a world's ready team. So I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know if it's going to take, removing Parth, having Lustboy leave, totally getting a new coach that, nobody's ever heard of, and just like completely wiping the slate clean and then rebuilding the whole thing. More Danes.
More Danes. We just need more.
We should hire Dane Cook as our coach.
That'd be the fucking worst League of Legends coach.
That'd be a really bad decision.
I love it though. I'm down as fuck. Right. Try that for a split. Yeah, why not?
Why not?
TSM Legends episodes would get way funnier. That's for sure.
There'd be a lot of censoring out unless they stuck with that.
Oh, I'd love that though. Down. Yeah.
It'd be fun. But yeah, no, I think that your fears and a lot of the people's fears and that general disappointment of, are we settling for more mediocrity? Are we just going to have another mediocre split? Even though the roster's really stacked, are we going to get a coach that's going to draft us into a 4th or 5th place team? Mm-hmm. Kind of those. I think that they're legitimate fears, and I know that it's really cliche, and we joked about it and we talked about it, but a lot of it is just going to be, we're going to have to see. We're going to have to see what it looks like, and we're going to have to see what turns out. I'm optimistic that, and I'm optimistic of the roster. I am optimistic that the roster changes will hopefully bring something new and exciting, and something that's going to push us forward and push the team forward. I always, even though there have been a lot of bumps in the road, especially the last 2 years, I always have faith in Reginald, and a lot of that is just because he wants to win. And we know how hard, like, he wants to win. He wants to win so badly that I want to believe that he's willing to do anything that it takes and move people as needed in order to win. Like, he's not going to settle for mediocrity. He has always said since the inception of TSM that their goal is to win Worlds. That's always what it's been. And I know a lot of people question it and are like, they'll see moves and they're like, is this really your goal, is to win Worlds?
It's the
And I get
long
that. And
con. It's the long
yeah,
con.
exactly. I get that, and there's a good reason for that. And again, we've seen mediocre players get into a really good team, and suddenly they're like god mode. I didn't think that Wonder was that great back on his Splice days. Like he was a decent top laner, but I didn't think that he was the god that he showed to be on G2. So you get some meh picks onto a really good team or in a good infrastructure, and suddenly they're a great player, and we see the best of them, kind of a
Yeah.
thing. So. I have seen we all have seen his drive to win. And so I keep having faith in that he's going to want to win so badly that he's going to do what is needed and what it takes to actually get there.
Yeah.
So I have high hopes in that sense. And again, I do believe in this roster, and I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, the roster, I mean, there's not much arguing with the roster at this point
It's pretty
with
solid.
how good it's looking.
Mm-hmm.
So, before we close it out, what you drinking today, my man?
Same thing, man. Got that Mad Elf.
Oh, hell yeah, boy. I
It's the
have
last one.
water in a wine glass. I had water in a wine glass. It's all
Classy.
gone now. Yeah, I still got to go to the gym today. It's one of those early taping of the episode, so.
Close out. I do kind of want to just
yeah?
touch on the Academy roster.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Talked a little bit about it, and I know that there's not a ton to talk about just because there's some up in the airs with it. I know we didn't have a top laner before because Brandini got removed for attitude or something along those lines. We now have Dokla, who was previously the top laner for Optic, and LCS top laner. Not the best LCS top laner, but probably will smurf an Academy.
I would argue pretty low tier LCS top laner.
I think that that's a fair argument. But
however,
I think he'll smurf an Academy.
Yeah, we've seen the difference in skill level between Academy players and LCS players. The gap is just gigantic.
The gap is huge
in that respect. So
I like that we kept Spica. I don't know what's happening with Acadian and Greg. They're both kind of like up in the air. But I really like that we kept Spica on there. I think that Spica, like he did for the dumpster fire that was TSM in playoffs, he did a pretty decent job. I think that he did a pretty decent job for like a total rookie.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I mean, with what he was given and the amount of time he was given to prepare with that roster in that spot, it was he did fine. He did pretty admirably.
So to me, that says that with the right amount of nurturing and keeping him in that position, that hopefully he'll be able to be LCS talent, and whether that's like if Dardoch blows up, we still have Spica kind of a thing or what. But I'm glad that we kept Spica. Sad that we lost Tactical. I thought Tactical and Treats both were such a phenomenal duo. It's really sad to see Tactical go. I don't know where Tactical went, but I really hope that he went to another Academy team. You have no idea what I'm talking about. So
what? No, I know exactly.
Yeah.
Tactical.
You have no idea.
Tactical
was our AD carry. He was great.
Yes.
They did a lot of good work, him and Treats. Treats is a monster. I'm so happy that we kept Treats.
All right.
I know that he's an import. Otherwise, I really would have liked to see, even though I'm so happy that Biofrost is back, I would have liked to see him on the LCS roster, and I think that he could be an LCS support. So instead, we have Lost, who was previously on Echo Fox for a stint, and that was kind of during the Echo Fox dumpster fire days where they had removed Altec and like suddenly got rid of Altec.
Was Lost the Australian player they brought in?
He is the Australian player.
Yes, absolutely. He actually did all right for a while there.
He did, and so it's good to see him on the Academy team. It's good to see him still in the pro scene because I think that he is developing talent that could do really well.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, we lost to Blaze Olive, which I'm sad about because I think Blaze Olive was a really good personality. He was very good at the game. Yeah, I like to Blaze Olive a lot. But I'm not sure where he's going. I really hope that he's picked up on a team somewhere, whether it's Academy or LCS. And instead, we got Evolved, aka Cat Evolved, which I don't know if you followed any of the drama, but is a player that has some drama following him. He has records of using racist language in game, spamming "I hate the N-word" at the end of it. Now, supposedly, this was, back when he was 16, back when he was a young lad. I know it's a yikes, but we've given players a chance. Those of us who have, or those of the players who have actually had instances with racism, aka Svenskeren, with his
Oh, that's
whole
right.
debacle.
I completely forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he seems like
So,
such a likable guy.
I know he's such a sweetheart. He's probably just being a dweeb and it backfired. He
Sure.
wasn't thinking. So, yeah, evolved. And then he had the whole thing recently where he ghosted his Twitch rivals team and they had to throw in Heisendong instead.
Huh.
Yeah, it was some questionable stuff. I think it's possible that he was maybe working with TSM or trying out with TSM, and that's why he ghosted them. Not sure, but there was some drama that went down there. So it's a questionable pickup. The talent is definitely there, but the attitude is like it's not quite Tarzan's levels of insane
Oh,
toxicness,
Jesus
but
Christ. The fact that it's even in the conversation is insane.
yeah, it's when we talk about controversial players, he can kind of throw in there.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what that looks like. Maybe now that he's on a team, like a structured, actual professional team in a structured environment, he can actually do well and is not going to be a little toxic shitlord. So we'll see. A lot of people have hope, myself included, have hope for his talent and his skill because he's very mechanically gifted. But who knows with the attitude? I mean, we're just kind of like pooling in the toxic players with Dardoch and
Oh boy.
Evolved, and it's just
My
you know,
favorite.
I know. So
It's yeah.
our what is it? Our mental coach David has a lot of work to do. So we'll
Oh
see.
yeah. You are not kidding. All
Yeah.
right. My phone's blowing up, my man, so we'll go ahead
All right.
and call it for right now. What can I say? We're popular gentlemen. Contrary to popular belief, we have a life outside of League of Legends.
This is true.
As
This is
much
very
as
true.
others would like to think that that's not the case.
Yeah.
All
They
right.
just
Well,
believe that we sit here all the time.
it's literally just like we do this for 24
This
hours
is all
straight
we
and then
do.
turn on the camera at the very end. Like, oh, by the
Yeah,
way.
just at some point. Yeah. Just
I don't have any lower half. I don't have legs.
yeah.
I'm
No,
just,
I'm
I'm just
paraplegic.
on this wheelchair.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you
All
guys
right,
for
cool.
tuning in.
Yeah.
We will catch you guys, I guess, when the rest of the rosters get announced. I think is the next big milestone we're waiting for. Let us know what you think down there in the old comments section. Let us know it.
Smash that like button.
Smash the like button. Smash the
that
subscribe. Man, that would be really appreciated. Thank you guys for watching. We will catch you on the next episode. Peace out.
Bye.